We've got a beat writer opening. And what about the Zeitler injury?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, yes, we are back again with another week of episodes here on Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matt Derry with you. Today is Monday, June 24th and a Tuesday, June 25th. Thank you for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts, which includes subscribing and liking and watching, all for free on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Thank you to our everydayers who are out there that watch and listen to the podcast daily and check us out. And many of you putting in your submissions on our SpeakPipe page, where we're going to play a call of the day every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll have another new one tomorrow. Go to speakpipe.com/Derry podcast page. Send in a voicemail. Please keep it clean, nothing personal. Don't swear. And we'll play one on Tuesdays and Thursdays on our call of the day. Locked On Lions today is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day. All summer long, visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. You can follow us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, Matt Derry Facebook fan page. And again, those of you that subscribe on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel, we appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. Coming up on the show today, an ode to a buddy of mine. As news broke today that the Detroit News is looking for a new Lions beat writer. Justin Rogers is leaving. We will get into that coming up momentarily. Also, a lot of stories about Kevin Zeitler. How concerned should the Lions be that their 34-year-old starting right guard and new free agent signee isn't going to be ready for training camp, or how banged up is he? And we haven't seen him. We haven't heard from him as mandatory mini camps and OTAs went on. I'm here to kind of debunk these theories. I think Kevin Zeitler is going to be just fine. We'll get into that coming up momentarily as well. Also, 7 teams that PFF pointed out are under the most pressure in the NFL. Are the Lions on that list or not? And tonight could be a magical night for a former Detroiter. All of that coming up today right here on Locked On Lions. We appreciate all of you. Ryan Matthews, our buddy from prideofdetroit.com, is going to join us tomorrow, working on another guest for Thursday. And we appreciate all of you checking us out daily right here on Locked On Lions. If you know me and you've listened to the show or watched the show, and we're going on 8 years now here on Locked On Lions. We started in around this time in 2016. You know that I like discussing the media. I like talking about the beat writers. I have a tremendous amount of respect for those that cover the Lions on a daily basis, whether it's the Free Press and Dave Burkett, the News and Justin Rogers, M Live and Kyle Meinke, Paula Pash, the folks that have covered the team over the years from the Oakland Press, Tim Twentyman, Mike O'Hara, who's no longer at the DetroitLions.com. But you know what I mean? All of the people, Colton Pouncey at The Athletic, everybody that's covered the team. I think the Lions beat is really good. I think the writers that cover the team daily do a great job. I think they're all over it. They break stories. And when you look at the beats for the 4 major teams, to me, the strongest group have been the Lions beat writers. They're all willing to come on the show, which we appreciate. We didn't even mention Ben Raven or Nolan Bianchi or any of those types of people. Everybody really does a great job. And I think it's a tough job. And it's a job that, you can't take a break. NFL and Lions, that's 365. It really is. So going back to 2011, Justin Rogers has covered the Lions for M Live and then most recently the Detroit News. And his run at the News has come to an end. Scrolling through Twitter today, or X or whatever, and I noticed my buddy Rod Beard, the sports editor at the Detroit News, posted a job posting on Twitter for a Lions beat writer at the Detroit News. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? Sent a little message over to JR, our buddy Justin Rogers. He confirmed, yes, he's leaving. And I just want to say something. I didn't talk to Justin today. I'm leaving him alone. I texted him good wishes. We are friends. Justin comes on the show usually around this time every year. I usually hit him up like in July and August, and we do our yearly look ahead But I normally leave the writers, most of them, alone for the year. And we get plenty of national people on. We get some of the local guys and girls on too. But those main guys, the Kyles, the Daves, the Justins, the Tims that have been there for so long, I try to leave them, give them some grace. And I think Dave does his own podcast now with Rhonda Moss. So he can't even come on now because he's contractually obligated to do his own pod, which I understand. But Justin Rogers leaving the Detroit News is an immense loss if you're a Lions fan. He's awesome at his job. Like, Justin's really good. If you read his story, if you read the story about a year ago on Chris Spielman that Justin wrote at debtnews.com, go back and check it out. I subscribe a lot of times for the show, obviously, so I'm well read and ready to bring you content daily, but I subscribe to the Detroit News for Justin Rogers. I do. I think that paper is very mediocre. I've said that before. I think they have some very good writers. They have some friends of mine that write there. All right, but to be honest with you, and Rod Beard is a friend, and Rod Beard, the sports editor of the Detroit News, has nothing to do with Justin Rogers leaving. All right, I hit up Rod today for something else, and told him, hey, big loss, and he knows that. I mean, Rod's awesome. And Rod was a damn good beat writer for the Pistons. Rod came in to my journalism class to speak to my students, I think on a couple of occasions. Super pro guy. But what sucks for you guys, for the listeners of this podcast, for Lions fans, is that you're not going to get as good of coverage with whoever takes over. You're just not. Justin is excellent at covering the team. And this sucks. This absolutely sucks. And don't get it twisted. Justin left. Justin's going to have something else. He said goodbye. And if I'm guessing, it's probably a money thing. All right. He won't tell me, and he's going to be ultra professional about it. And he's going to wait and make his announcement wherever he lands, whether it's in this industry or not. All right. A lot of people are leaving the industry, but this is a big loss. And shame on the people at the very top of the news. You lost a good one. You lost a good one. Because he breaks stories. He writes unbelievable pieces. He has great angles on stuff when he's at the combine. Justin brings you a twist on something that you might not have known. Right? He's got the pulse of Allen Park. He knows inside 222 Rodwood Drive what is going on. And has done a great job for, like I said, 13 years covering the team. And I hate this because I enjoy it. I'm a fan too. I'm a reader. And the Detroit News losing him is bad on them. Whoever they hire, I will do fine. Rod will find somebody good. But geez, man. I hate this. Hate this for Lions fans. So want to give a shout out to JR. He's a good dude. And he's a damn good reporter. And I hope somehow he's staying in the industry so I can keep reading him. But if he goes another route, I get it. Plenty of us have left the Detroit media for other routes and are doing just fine in other industries. Obviously, for me, this is my side hustle. I love Locked On. I love doing this. This gives me that taste. But if someone, starting up a radio, I'm not getting back in that full time. Not a chance. So, JR, thank you. Thank you for 13 amazing years covering the team. I wish him the best. I really do. He knows that. But I wanted to just say, this is what sucks about this business and this industry. And this screws the fans who cover the team. And right now, the Lions are as good as they've ever been. The Lions are Super Bowl contenders. And I'm sure Rod and whoever, they'll get somebody good. But I'm just telling you, Justin's damn good. That's a loss. That's a loss for that newspaper. So that's all I got to say about that. All right. Kevin Zeitler. We know this. The Lions lost Jonah Jackson in free agency. They weren't going to pay the freight $17.5, $18 million a year like the Rams did to keep Jonah Jackson around. So they did the next best thing. They got a 1-year deal for $6.5, $7 million for a Pro Bowl guard. They can slide Graham Glasgow over to left guard. They can put Kevin Zeitler at right guard. Problem is, Kevin Zeitler has not practiced, and has not been on the field yet for the Lions in their off-season workouts. Now, team is off for a little while. We got about a month till training camp. Will Kevin Zeitler be ready? We'll get into that coming up next, right here on Locked On Lions. But first, Locked On Lions brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop, but the playoffs are winding down. Game 7 is tonight of the Stanley Cup playoffs, Stanley Cup finals, Edmonton at Florida. It's going to be amazing. But after that, we got fewer and fewer games going on. And the sports aren't going to sports like we all want them to. But at FanDuel, they let you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you got to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime you are in the mood. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That is right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. You like basketball? You want to put money down on the WNBA? That Fever Sky game yesterday was awesome. It was good stuff. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. Start making the most out of your summer, whether you're betting on Major League Baseball, Tigers, I believe, playing tonight. Whatever it is, you want to get on the action with prop bets, player stuff, you can do it at FanDuel. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Locked On Lions for a Monday edition. Ryan Matthews, prideofdetroit.com. We love the folks at POD. And by the way, Jeremy Reisman, who's the managing editor of Pride of Detroit, saw him on Twitter the other day, propping up and just dapping Justin Rogers as well as somebody that Justin took under his wing and helped coach. That's the other thing. If Justin leaves the industry, like, he's coached up a lot of these guys, like Jeremy and Nolan Bianchi, because Justin's unselfish and looks out for the young writers. I love that. Ryan Matthews tomorrow from prideofdetroit.com. Great website. I'm on POD and Lions Wire with Jeff every day, checking those sites out. So I'm ready to do this podcast. They are fantastic. All right. The Kevin Zeitler situation. Zeitler has missed Lions mini camp, OTAs, and all of that due to knee and ankle injuries that he suffered last season. He sat out week 17 and 18 last year with the Ravens due to knee and ankle problems, but came back to play in both playoff games. Let me tell you something about these articles about, is Kevin Zeitler going to be okay? Yes, he's 34 years old. All right, he's on a 1-year deal. He's up there in age. But I loved the signing of Zeitler to this 1-year deal because he's a really good football player. And you stick him at right guard, and he's going to be just fine. But people writing about concern, let me tell you this. Kevin Zeitler has played in 182 out of a possible 195 games in his double-digit year career. He's played, 12 seasons. His availability is at 94%, 182 out of 195. He's played at least he's played at least 15 games in 9 consecutive seasons. All right, 9 years in the league. Despite that, he's had some injury problems. 2022 knee injury kept him out of weeks 14 and 15. Back in 2019, he had an ankle injury week 15, and last year, ankle and knee issues weeks 17 and 18. Then came back to play in the playoffs. 9-year veteran that has played through injuries and that has played in 94% of the games. So if there are folks that have a concern, I'm not one of those folks. I think the Lions offensive line has a chance to be better than it was last year. And last year it was a top 3 O-line. It was. Philly's got a very good offensive line. We've talked about Baltimore's, Cleveland's, Kansas City, the Niners. That Lions O-line is right up there. Lions and Eagles, to me, have the best 2 offensive lines in the league. And this was with Jonah Jackson last year at left guard next to Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow, with Glasgow at right guard and Penei Sewell at right tackle. Now you move Graham over to left guard where he's played before. You got Zeitler at right guard. I think this thing has a chance to be better. And Zeitler was ranked by PFF in the top 10 for guards, whereas Jonah Jackson, I believe, was, 22? He struggled last year. Missed some assignments. His pass blocking wasn't as good. Rams had to go out and get him. He's got familiarity with Matthew Stafford. I get that. And Jonah, Lions have kept basically everybody around for the most part. But Lions, knowing they had to re-sign Jared Goff. By the way, congratulations to Jared Goff. According to TMZ, he got married this weekend. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Aleem McNeil, the Lions are thinking about long-term. What about Taylor Decker? You want to keep him around guarding Jared Goff's blind side? So I think the O-line, especially in Zeitler, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. Do I have any inside info on his ankle and his knee? No. But I think the Lions are being smart and using precaution to rest him during minicamp, OTAs, all of that stuff. We're going to get to training camp in about a month, and he'll be there. I just know it. This is an opportunity, and Kevin Zeitler's had opportunities other places, Cincinnati, Baltimore, to get to the promised land. He signed with the Lions for a reason. Probably took a little bit less money. He knows they got a chance to make it all the way and get to the Super Bowl. I just love talking about that, saying Lions in the Super Bowl. How sweet is that? All right, read a piece in Pro Football Focus today, and I thought it was very interesting. Written by Bradley Locker at PFF.com. 7 NFL teams under the most pressure to succeed in 2024. So I sat back and I went, are the Lions on this list? You could put the Lions on this list. And the reason is the expectations are very high. People expect the Lions to get back to the NFC Championship game. Now, once you get there, you never know. Lions, of course, blew a double-digit lead last year. People were booking their trips to Vegas for the Super Bowl at halftime last year when the Lions led, 23-7. People were ready. Turned out, Niners came back. We don't need to go into the whole story. So I'm thinking, should the Lions be under the most pressure to succeed this season? The team that I know is under a lot of pressure is the Jets, and that's because the window is almost closing. The door is nearly shut. It's Aaron Rodgers, most likely last season, or at least one of the last 2 years. The Jets have to win. They're in that market in New York. Rodgers is healthy again. They've built a team around him. They've got a better offensive line. Their defense is excellent, better than the Lions. The Jets have to win. They have to. And that division is only getting weaker, the AFC East. Also under a lot of pressure, the Philadelphia Eagles are on this list. A lot of veteran players. Yeah, they lost a couple to retirement and all that with Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox, but pressure is on in Philly to win, especially after last year's nosedive at the end of the year. Also making this list, Miami Dolphins. After starting last year 11-4, Tua Tagovailoa, it's a contract year for him. Are they going to re-sign him? Would they break this thing up if it doesn't work? Always under pressure on this list. Dallas. Do I need to even talk about the Cowboys? They're expected to win every year with that stadium, with that roster, with all that high-priced talent. Also making this list, the Atlanta Falcons. 7-10 the last 3 years, but new quarterback, new coach. Roster looks good. Falcons are in a lousy division. Lions have to play. The Bears are going to be no cupcake this year and no cakewalk. Neither are the Bears, and the Packers are damn good. Who are the Falcons playing? The NFC South? Give me a break. Tampa's decent, but the rest of those teams, come on. Also under pressure, Jacksonville. 9-8 each of the past 2 years. Took a big step forward a couple of years ago. Trevor Lawrence, now the highest paid player in NFL history, highest paid quarterback. Interesting that the Jags made the list. Now, I figured the 7th team would be Detroit. I really figured Lions under pressure. Got to win, right? But then I thought about it. Lions roster is young. Let's say the Lions stub their toe this year and don't have the year they had last year. Are they blowing it up? Would they lose Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes or make a move? No. The Lions have a bad year. They have a bad year. The Lions are going to be good for the long haul. Then I saw the 7th team and I went, yes, I get it. You know who's under a lot of pressure this year to win and finally have a winning record are the Bears. The Chicago Bears are the last team that made this list. according to the author, Bradley Locker. Who has more pressure on them, the Bears or the Lions? I think it is the Bears. Because the last 2 years, they've gone a combined 10 and 24, but everybody knows you got a number one overall pick quarterback, Caleb Williams, that's going to play right away. You've jettisoned your quarterback from before, Justin Fields. And if Matt Eberflus doesn't win this year or get him to 9-8 or have him sniffing around the postseason, he's going to get fired. They've added Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Kevin Byard, DeAndre Swift. They got to be around the playoffs, fighting for that third wild card in the NFC. And I don't think they're going to. And because I think Caleb Williams will be an upgrade there, but that's not saying much. The Bears haven't had a quarterback since Jim McMahon, and even he wasn't that good. So Lions did not make that list. Do you agree or disagree with that? Very interesting list there that the Lions are not on. And I kind of agree with that. All right. An ode to a former Detroit pseudo legend, but he's a Michigan sports Hall of Famer. We'll do that coming up next right here on Locked On Lions. All right. Tonight, I mentioned this before during the FanDuel read. Tonight is going to be incredible. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. That is pretty awesome. This series was over. Florida Panthers led the Edmonton Oilers 3-0. It looked bleak for the guys from Canada. Now all of a sudden, Connor McJesus, all of these guys for the Oilers have stepped up, and it's 3-3. Oilers game 5 in Florida. Or no, they won game. They were down 3-0. They won game 4 at home, game 5 in Florida, went back home to game 6 and won. And now they have a chance to make history. To be the first team since the 42 Maple Leafs that beat the Wings to come back from down 0-3 would be insane. Tonight is the night also that former Red Wing general manager and somebody that the fans and some, not all, some of the Detroit media just loathe and think is so bad, Ken Holland, now the Oilers general manager, could hoist the Stanley Cup over his head once again. Remember, Kenny was the architect of the 4 Stanley Cup winners in Detroit back in the day. Was it 97, 98, 03, whatever? 07? You guys would know better than me. The Red Wings had a dynasty going. The Red Wings were dominant. The Red Wings were insanely good for many years. And I covered those 97 and 98 teams. And I was there in at the Joe when they beat Philly. I was in DC for WDFN when they beat the Capitals. And they wheeled Vladdy out on the ice, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I was actually standing there when Vladdy got wheeled out as we were going downstairs. I was actually standing there in the press box with the late legend, Jamie Samuelson. So anyway, Ken Holland is pretty disliked now. It's almost like Joe Dumars a little bit. When Joe Dumars was let go finally by the Pistons or whatever happened there with Tom Gores years ago, fans were like, good, get rid of him. And it turned out Joe Dumars is the greatest Piston of all time because he won championships as a player and he built the championship team of 2004. They also went to 6 straight Eastern Conference Finals, and ever since Joe's been gone, it's been a disaster with the local basketball team. Ken Holland left, the fans were ready. Too many bad contracts. The Wings are going downhill. Thank God he's gone. Ken kind of left, went to the Oilers. Wings, of course, went out and got Steve Yzerman, and everybody went crazy. In the meantime, since the Yzer plan has been in effect, the Red Wings have not won anything. They haven't made the playoffs yet. Steve did need to rebuild the roster. Ken made a lot of mistakes at the end. But fans now kind of saying, oh, I'm rooting for the Panthers because I don't want to see Ken. Let me tell you something about Ken Holland. Ken Holland is a great person, not a good person, a great person. Right? I'm not telling you I'm friends with him, but like when I was at 105.1, especially doing the 2.5 years of radio and trying my best at a very bad place, bad station, not bad place. Ken Holland was great to us. Ken Holland came on my show whenever we wanted. He was super nice. He is a super good guy. And like, don't you want to root for good people? I get it. All right. We hate Matt Millen. We boo Matt Millen. You go to a Michigan game and you see Matt Millen on the Big Ten Network, and maybe you're up in the upper deck and you go, oh, boo. You want to fire Millen, boo Millen, all of that. Matt Millen was bad at his job. That doesn't make him a bad person. Ken Holland was bad at the end. Red Wings kind of got run into the ground at the end of Holland's tenure. It was time for him to move on. But the guy's a damn good general manager. Look what he did before. So was Joe Dumars. So there's people saying, oh, I don't want to see Ken Holland. Well, why not? I'm rooting for Edmonton tonight because Kenny's awesome. Such a good dude. Great guy. Couldn't have been nicer to everybody. Media members, the people that work in the food room at the Joe, security guards, the valet people, Al Sabatka. They all love Ken Holland. He's a nice guy. You want good things to happen to good people. So I'm rooting for him tonight. And what should be very, very interesting television. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. All right. Ryan Matthews is going to join us tomorrow from prideofdetroit.com. We got Locked On Lions for you, at least for the next couple weeks, or at least this week. I'm off, by the way, next week, vacation. Then the week after that, I believe 4 shows. And then we're back to 5 and doing our thing, getting you ready for training camp here from Allen Park. So thanks for making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Please, if you are new to the show, subscribe and watch us on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel and send in your submissions, your voicemails to our SpeakPipe account at speakpipe.com/Dairy Podcast page. We'll play our call of the day tomorrow.